Hi, there is a person.
This is a little bit more
Oh, hold on. Why
complicated
can't I not
than
hear?
oh, and you can't.
Ooh, hold on. This
Ooh.
sounds weird. Okay, this is on my side. One second. Okay, I think I should be good now.
Does it sound
Yes,
normal-ish?
yes, yes. You just sounded like a dying alien just a second ago, but it's
Oh, cool.
yeah, no, it was Bluetooth.
Yeah, I guess you have to like make or sign in with your LF account now to use the Zoom.
Um,
Oh.
I don't think you have to. I think you can just
Oh.
join the Zoom just as a regular Zoom.
Mm,
But the
okay.
the reason why we're moving it to the LFX is because then everyone should have access to the recordings.
Oh,
Um,
neat.
yeah, so we still want to upload them for YouTube, but at least it's like available to everyone. And I believe that the CNCF is trying to move everything to that platform.
Oh, know that. Okay. Maybe I'll try
Yeah.
moving our meetings to that too.
Yeah, it's nice to have just a single place to manage all of them. I think that makes
Yeah.
sense. But
Yeah, we created like a one password just to upload because like no one had access to
mhm.
all of the like Zoom accounts to upload stuff. So,
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, the only thing is that who knows how long that takes until everything's moved, Until then it's just kind of weird sometimes because I don't have access to like change anything
hmm.
for this LFX meeting because I don't have access to the platform, I think. I don't know, it's so
Oh,
confusing sometimes.
I
Um,
get that.
so that's a bit weird, but yeah. Um, and now I'm wondering if anyone else is gonna come.
I
Because we
know
were,
usually it's like a toss up. It's like there's either like 10 people here or it's just like
no.
one.
But the thing is, because there were two projects that wanted to present, I would expect that at least those are here.
Let me
Um,
look at the notes. Who was it?
it
Let's
was
see.
Build Packs and Kaito
I
or
would think build
Kaito.
packs would be here.
Well,
Hmm.
they're not here right now, so we can give it a couple of minutes. But
Yeah.
is there anything that you want to discuss? Any like topics that are on the top of this? You know, this is basically just for you now.
It's me. No, I'm just here to support. I'm just here to, I don't know, hang out and take notes and help in any way I can. So if there's anything I can help with, you can tell me. I'd be happy to do
Oh,
that.
okay. Well, let me just talk into this recording right now, so because I guess we're just starting now. Um, so today is Wednesday, 12th of June, and this is the tag app delivery general meeting. So there's me, Leanne, one of the chairs, and Sarah, who is the one attendee, which is great. Maybe we can have like in-depth discussion about things now. That's cool.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And I'm not gonna ask you if you want to take notes because I almost feel like there's no point to that now.
I can
Um,
help.
but you know what? Like, do you want to introduce yourself to
Oh,
me?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Sarah Christoph. I'm the lead maintainer on Porter. I think Porter is under the Tag App delivery umbrella. It should be at least. We are currently chugging through the incubation like draft. That is a hefty, hefty GitHub issue.
Yeah.
And I'm a software engineer, but yeah, it's a big issue. And I think the worst part about it, like I appreciate that we're so thorough, but it is hard to read when you're editing it in GitHub Markdown. I threw it up as like a draft issue and I was like, this is difficult to scroll through.
Yeah, I can imagine. Okay, cool. And you're not looking for anything specific to do, you just wanted to see like if there's anything that you can help with. Did I get that
Yeah, yeah,
correctly?
I've been trying to participate more within the last like 6 months. It was kind of like a nice like lurker, like just watching. And then recently I'm like, okay, wait, I can help out. I can,
Yeah, for
take
sure.
whatever needs done.
Yes. There's another person. Yes.
Ooh.
Let me just share my screen. Um, I just have to find the right screen. Sorry, this is gonna take some time. Uh, um, so there's nothing on the agenda besides the two projects that are not here. I think what we should probably be talking about, or if you want to talk about it, is KubeCon, because if anyone has any ideas what we should be doing for KubeCon, then this is the place to add it, or I would at least mention it. You're seeing the whole, you're not just seeing the tab, you're seeing the whole window, right?
Yeah, I see the whole window.
Yeah, okay, cool. So this is an issue for KubeCon NA planning. Are you planning to go? Is anyone planning to go?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, cool. I will wait for Forrest and Dylan to get comfy. Just for a moment.
Hi there. This is the first time I'm here. I actually was
Oh,
in the
hi.
wrong meeting.
Oh, excellent. Oh, you were all in the wrong meeting. Okay, let me. How did you find the right meeting? Did you check the Slack?
Yes.
Okay, so that's good that that works. Which why was was that meeting still wrong on the community events page? I thought I fixed that.
Uh, I believe so, yeah. That's where I found it initially.
Okay, that is not good. I'm sorry about that. Let me just to be safe. Oh, I understand. I see now what happened. Just to be safe, I'm going to paste it now. And okay, just in case other people are looking at it now. Okay, but thanks all for still joining. Sorry about sending the wrong meeting link. Yeah, as I was explaining to Sarah earlier, we're just in the middle of moving, so a lot of things are messed up, and we honestly do not have documentation of where everything is. So sometimes it's just like discovering like, oh, well, apparently we have this here too, which is wrong. So let's actually, oh, Dylan, thank you so much for volunteering.
No problem.
Let's actually, okay, Forrest, if this is your first time, would you like to introduce yourself really quickly?
Absolutely, yeah. I'm joining from Shanghai, China. I'm working for a company called Ant Group. We're the maintainers of an open source platform orchestrator tool. I kind of just stumbled onto this meeting because we had a sandbox application going on, and we're just kind of tracking the progress and see what's going on.
Okay, that is awesome. And Sachi, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Would you like to introduce yourself as well?
Yeah, definitely. Hi, everyone. My name is Sechi. I'm a product manager at Microsoft, so I'm based here in Seattle, and I'm looking to present on our open source project KAITO.
Ah,
And we're working on building up the application right now, the sandbox application.
awesome. Okay, cool. In that case, I think what we can do is, okay, would you like to wait a little bit and then do your presentation, or would you like to just start with the presentation right now?
I can wait a bit, like we can have the general discussion and then I'll
Okay.
present afterwards.
Yeah, just in case that also maybe if other people have in the wrong meeting, then maybe it will take some time for them to get here. So if we wait a little bit, maybe you just have more
Yeah, that sounds
viewers.
great.
Yeah, cool. Okay, then just a quick update on the working groups. I don't know if anyone from any working group has anything to say or wants to share something now. If I say anyone, I'm probably looking at you, Dylan.
Yeah, I mean, basically the only thing, there is a new working group that we're evaluating. There's a charter that we are drafting up. We're getting pretty close. We have a meeting this Friday around I think at 11 a.m. Eastern again, where we will discuss the final draft before we kind of propose it into the GitHub PR. And then we'll use that meeting as well to kind of come up with who are going to be co-chairs for the working group. But the working group in if I did not mention it already, is called Infrastructure Lifecycle. There is a channel for that. It is very similar to kind of what the platform work has been doing, but there has been a need to kind of focus in certain areas more specific than the broader platform group, related to things like hosted control planes like Crossplane, Atlantis. There's other projects like Radius, but also taken on trying to address things like state management, disaster recovery, things of that nature that maybe would be more specific to kind of DevOps engineers in general, and not necessarily platform engineers.
Cool. So if anyone is interested in that, they can join in Slack. I think your WG-infrastructure-lifecycle. Nice.
Correct. I will put it in the notes.
Yes, and right now, is Corinna still working with you, or is she already gone?
She has been. I haven't talked with her lately.
Yes.
But I know she is now at the TOC level, so I don't know if
Yes.
that's something that
Okay.
we'll need someone else to kind of sponsor for, like, have a tech lead.
Yes, so it needs to probably be either Robert or me.
Okay, Robert
yeah.
has been involved.
Mhm.
I think he hopped in, so I don't know if that's something we'll
Yeah.
clarify with him if he wants to.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, if you could do that with him directly, I don't have to get involved. I think it's mainly just to support you to like be able to open the right pull request with the right people.
Right. Yeah, I'll reach
Awesome.
out to him so that way you don't have to worry about it.
Okay, awesome, cool. Yeah, app development. Oh, sorry, was that everything, Dylan, or do you have anything to?
Yeah, I'm
Cool.
pretty. I'm all set.
Awesome. So yeah, the app development working group has officially been approved by the TOC, I think last week. So we've been just setting up all the accounts and everything this week. So app development is also like a super new one. If you're interested to check out what they're doing, it's all about best practices for cloud native app development. They're still discussing like what exactly they want to deliver in terms of like actual value. That sounds bad, but like more like do they want to write a white paper or a glossary? Like what do they want to start with? So if you're interested in kind of like being part of that discussion, then you can do that, and it is WG-app-development. I think if you scroll all the way somewhere, yeah, active working groups, here they are. And then you can also get access to their meeting notes. And I'm sure that they have their Slack channels and everything in there too. And then the platforms working group, I mean, they're going very strongly. I barely look into what they're doing right now. They have their own, obviously, working group meetings, but they also have platform lean coffees and all kinds of just like chatty meetings that are not like operations and working on things necessarily, just more like chats. That's really interesting to check out. And I don't know what's going on with artifacts. I guess they're doing fine because I haven't heard any problematic things from them. So I'm just gonna trust that they're going strong. So yeah, this is how we work for all the newbies. It's basically, well, if there's information, then that's great. If not, then we're just gonna expect that they're going strong. And if you're interested, you can join their Slack channel or go to their working group meetings. Cool. Any questions on the working groups? If you have an idea for anything that you think needs to be a working group, obviously you can also talk to us, but we are trying to keep work, if it's not necessary, we're trying to keep work on the tag level and not create a working group for everything. It's just when we feel like, okay, this is actually a big thing and we need a lot of people involved in this, and ideally people manage themselves and manage their own work. That's when we usually go for a working group. Cool. Okay. The next topic is KubeCon. Yeah, I was just asking, like, if people are going, this is Salt Lake City. So usually the tag has a booth that we share with other CNCF projects. So usually we have them for half a day. So that would be like maybe in the morning we have the booth Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And what we've done so far was giving lightning talks there. So we have like our own CFP for lightning talks. And sometimes we also, this was what we tried in Paris, have an hour that we called open booth for a working group. So we would set a specific time that the chairs of the working group would be at the booth and people could talk to them about whatever that's related to the working group. And we would then, create that schedule beforehand and put it on our website and maybe flyers or whatever, so people know that there's stuff happening at the booth and when they can come if they have specific questions. We also usually get some sessions. Well, I mean, we don't get them just always, but more like we can request them, and the chances are pretty high that we can get a talk, lightning talk or something, since the maintainer track is usually quite, I'm not gonna say loose, but they have a lot of slots for not, the slots are not that highly contested as in other tracks. I think that's the best way to put it. So if you have any ideas for conference sessions or things that we could do with the booth, it doesn't have to be lightning talks. We basically just came up with the idea of lightning talks to fill the time at the booth. Feel free to just comment in this issue, right? Like, this is all idea finding. Robert is the one who took responsibility to actually organize this. So you can also bug him, but I think it's just easiest if you just put any comments and questions you have in this issue, and then it's easier for us to find. Any questions or comments about KubeCon?
I have a quick one. Did you mention there's a separate CFP process for app delivery tag from the general ones? Because the general one closed last Friday, I think, or some
Yeah,
kind of
so yeah, I think exactly. It closed last weekend. The CFP for the maintainer track, at least for Paris, opened after the main CFP closed. So CF by that logic, it should be open now. But I don't know if this is the case. Because it wasn't really on the main thing. I think it was a separate, it was like contributor summit or something, right? It was like a separate conference, but then you were still speaking at the main location. Like, you were speaking on the main stages. So I'm not quite sure.
Are you talking about
here.
like the lightning talks? Or
There
something
were
different?
Project Lightning talks, but
Okay.
also we also had a talk about the tag in the maintainer track. That was a full talk, and that happened. I don't know which room it was, because Paris was really big. But I'm looking at this now, and it looks like the Contributor Summit. Is it only in Europe? Oh no, there we are. Contributor Summit North America. And then there is submitted talks. Yeah, CFP for sessions will be opened in the coming days.
Oh,
So
okay,
from the
awesome.
looks of it, I don't know if this is actually the same thing as the maintainer track, or if that is another thing. The contributor summit, if that is I just don't know. But there's definitely this is open. The other thing is that the talks directly at our booth, we organize the CFP for that ourselves as the tag, because the booth is ours and we can do whatever we want with it. So we decided that we would take like so many, like we would always have just a general open booth, 1 or 2 hours, so people can just come and talk. And then we have like a couple of slots where we put Lightning Talks, and then last year, or like for Paris, we just created a Google form and then had people fill in, and then we just like voted on it. Doesn't need to be too big, and also we had like, let's say we had 16 slots and then 20 submissions or something like that. So it's not a huge thing. And it shouldn't be, because the booth is small and you can't really like there's no mic, there's no tech setup. It's like a small thing. And that's how it's supposed to be. But again, if you have ideas how else we could use the booth, because I'm not quite sure about the Lightning Talk. I feel like they're a good thing to do, but then sometimes I also feel like it's again, it's loud, and I don't know if the speakers are getting a lot of value out of talking to 5 people or 3 people. But this is what we have right now. Any questions or comments?
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. You can go first for us.
All right, a quick one. Do we just comment under this thread for if we want to submit ideas for Lightning Talks as well?
No, that would be a separate thing. So
Is there
that
a link for
you
that, or?
not yet, because no one has organized it yet. So maybe you want to comment in this issue, hey, what about Lightning Talks? If you want to help with that, you can comment like, I would like to help with Lightning Talks. You can also say, I would like to submit a Lightning Talk. Where can I do that? Put it in this issue. And
Okay.
then maybe ping Robert for it. But this is not, you can't submit a Lightning Talk here.
Yeah, we had
Okay.
a Google sheet for signing up people who wanted to volunteer, but also for I don't know if the Lightning Talks is something that is done outside of that process. I think it's a separate process similar to like the maintainer track talks. And to follow up with what you said, Leanne, I don't think anything has been posted yet about the maintainer track. For Europe,
Okay.
I think you were also right, where the maintainer track signups don't start until much closer to, because for Europe, I know they didn't open up until like November or December, and the main call for proposals then had closed in November.
Yeah.
So I think it's just a matter of time over the next month that things open up for that. So we're still a little bit early, I think, but it's definitely something like Leanne said for us, like comment on the issue, maybe ping Robert and say, hey, how can we, start organizing Lightning Talks?
Yeah. But you also gotta keep in mind that this is all, of course, volunteer based. So if something's not going fast enough right now, or like no one's replying to you, one of the things that you could do is do it yourself. Like support the people. If you feel like, hey, we should be starting looking for Lightning Talks, then maybe you can, like start on some work yourself to just make it easier on other people. Like, to be honest with you, right now, we're not a lot of people in tech leadership. So basically all the work is divided between Robert and myself. And it's sometimes we just lose track of things. So if you can just ping us, put information into one place so we know where to find it, that would just make things easier for, I think, everyone.
Sounds good. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Okay, any more questions or comments? Nice. Okay, then I will just like mention one final thing before we can go to the project presentation, which is it's like a perfect segue. Tech leads. So as I said, we're kind of like a bit short on leadership at the moment. And what we want to do is get more people involved in helping us organize things. For example, KubeCon, for example, making sure these meetings are posted on the right places and they're fixed correctly. Hosting these meetings, there's a lot of like chopping wood, carrying water that needs to be done, which usually is taken care of either the chairs or the tech leads. I think what really happened also is that people just don't really know where to start. So some people just want to help, but they don't really know how and where, and it just takes a lot of time and effort to even figure out how you can help. So what I have done and what I hope is helpful is I've created this document on what a tech lead is, what kind of responsibilities they have, and I guess I don't know really I don't think there's any like perks listed, but the perk is that you're a tech lead, it's good on your CV, I guess, and it will make it easier for you to, for example, become a CNCF ambassador, or if you want to move up to chair or TOC, for example, like Karena, was a tech lead up until now, and now she's been voted into the technical oversight committee, which unfortunately is part of the reason why we're a bit low on staff, because she just moved up in the world, which is great for her. So what I would love is if you could take some time to take a look at this, maybe share with some people who you know who are interested, maybe you are interested yourself. I hope this is all the information. Again, if there's something that is missing, you have a question, like put it in the pull request. That's totally fine. And yeah, we're introducing, this is new, like a trial run. So that should be like a little bit more like low pressure for both of our sides, where you can just, like maybe join us in our channel so you can just see like what are things that are being discussed. Is there something that I can help with? Yeah, so that is the idea, to just kind of help us out with leadership in the general leadership group. But also, if you're very involved or want to be involved in a working group, then feel free to also ask the working group chairs, like, hey, I would really like to help. There's always stuff that you can do to help that comes without a title. And once you've done that for like a couple of months, like 2-3 months even, then it's like usually people will pick up on that. And then if you're asking like, hey, can I maybe become chair or something, that ask is like you already have a lot of proof that you're capable of doing it. So if you're looking to get involved with the community, these kinds of things I think would be, first of all, super helpful, would help us also create like a better experience and platform for more people, so we could make the tag more efficient. That would be great. And hopefully could also help your career. Does anyone have any questions about that or comments? Okay, cool. So thanks all for bearing with me here. Sachi, are you good to present?
Yes, I think
Awesome.
I'm good to go.
Yes.
I'll just start by sharing my screen.
Yes.
I haven't used Zoom in a while, so let me know if it shares properly. Is everyone able to see?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, great. So let's get started. My name is Sechi Desai. I'm a product manager at Microsoft, specifically within the Azure Kubernetes service product group. So we're going to talk about the project KAITO, which is an acronym for Kubernetes AI Toolchain Operator, and it helps enable open source large language models, which is a form of AI models on Kubernetes. And earlier this year, we presented in a keynote at KubeCon Paris. So you may be slightly familiar with this, and we'll go into a bit of the motivation, background, like overarching design, and then features that we have in progress and contributions that we've made to the special interest groups in the Kubernetes community. So starting off with background. So for generative AI and large language models, natural language processing and neural networks are not really new. We use them every day across various applications, such as in messaging context. And attention specifically is a concept that allows large language models to better understand and work with the nuances of language used across different contexts. So whether it's used in more colloquial language, when messaging, or so for predicting words, like in this context on the left, that are used every day, or in AI assistants that are used in more formal contexts for applications and larger companies looking to improve their user experience. So transformer models specifically make word-by-word prediction context-aware and accurate. And cost is definitely an important factor when talking about large language models and specifically implementing them in large-scale applications. And two important factors that contribute to cost are the parameters, which are about the size of the neural network, and the train tokens, or the time to train the model. So when you want decent inference performance, this requires the use of high-end GPUs and loading the neural network weights into GPU memory. So if you're familiar with some popular open source large language models such as Falcon, Mistral, GPT-4, these are very large models, and for trained tokens, they may have 70 billion parameters or 7 billion parameters. Some of the examples are shown here. And for use cases, for example, in OpenAI or Azure ML, lots of people use them for like application development. And there can be some limitations here, specifically when you may want more data governance or following the networking policies for your larger company or enterprise. And that's kind of where Kubernetes comes in. So for specific concerns related to data or security compliances, you want more observability for your infrastructure, you want to optimize for cost, or you're more familiar with the type of GPUs that you want to provision and work with. For example, you also want to customize your ML framework, do more like ML operations if you have data and ML engineers involved, and cluster management, then Kubernetes, you can use a lot of the advantages there. And the open source cloud native community is ready. So open source large language models are readily available. The ones that have Apache 2 or MIT licenses, many are being released almost every day. And Hugging Face is a public hub for most required resources. Hugging Face offers different accelerators and ways of conducting inference with these popular large language models. And what you need to be cloud ready is making all of these aspects open source. So your model weights, your runtime engine, and then using it on Kubernetes. So you would think that the onboarding process can be easy, right? Well, for an expert that's familiar with all the model configurations, maybe the GPUs that they're looking to use with their models, it may be, but these are a list of all the steps that you kind of have to consider initially when you want to conduct inferencing. So if you want to, when you're looking to containerize your model to run it alongside, let's say, your other microservices on Kubernetes, you have to maintain those very large model weights, which can be hundreds of gigabytes in size, build and host the model containers in a private registry, provision the compatible GPU infrastructure. So whether it comes from NVIDIA, AMD, and knowing how to configure the device plugins, so forth, tuning your model deployment parameters, and so forth. So all these other steps that are listed here, and that can kind of serve as a pretty significant barrier when starting off with large language models. So so some large language models, the related projects claim to support Kubernetes, but for the most part, they just use the underlying GPU infrastructure and using that as the compute resource provider, as opposed to abstracting the large language model as a cloud native application. So this is where KAITO comes in as a differentiator in this space. And we're going to briefly go over the design of this project. So KAITO, which stands for the Kubernetes AI Toolchain Operator, is a Kubernetes operator. So it leverages the ecosystem. As an operator, it streamlines workflows, and it serves as a tool in your entire workflow. So as opposed to kind of having very opinionated decisions and serving as a platform as a service or a SaaS or a PaaS, it is more so like a deployment tool and automates the deployment of your large language models in your Kubernetes cluster. So this part was actually shown in the KubeCon Paris keynote, and it kind of uses the typical custom resource definition or CRD design that's used across different Kubernetes controllers. So for example, if you're looking to deploy your Falcon 7 billion model within the CRD, everything that's defined here is what's needed to start off your deployment. So when we give a recommendation of certain GPU infrastructure to start off with, as well as defining which model you're going to be working with. So essentially, if you are looking to start off with this Falcon 7 billion model, we recommend this series of GPUs. And for certain models that are supported within our registry, you're able to configure distributed ML or distributed inferencing. So it can split the model and conduct model sharding across several smaller GPUs as opposed to running it all in one larger, let's suppose like 8 GPU like VM size. And so once you get started with that CRD, you can track the readiness of all of the resources and the inferencing during the deployment. So there are three main parts that you can track here: your resource readiness, inference readiness, and workspace readiness. And the two major components of KAITO are the workspace controller and the node provisioner controller that work together in like automating all the steps that I had shown previously. So once it's all up and ready within a matter of minutes, as opposed to initially days that it might take to figure out all of those steps, you can grab your cluster IP and then start interacting with the model within your cluster. So this is an example that we have here, just kind of asking a question. Do we have any questions so far? Okay, great. I'll continue. So as I mentioned, the two major components to this project are the workspace controller and the node provisioner controller. So for the node auto provisioner, it uses the Carpenter core APIs. So right now it's using the machine custom resource definition. And what we're trying to migrate to is the node claim CRD. And this aspect is vendor agnostic. So right now, the project is provisioning GPUs on Azure, and we're working towards making it vendor agnostic entirely. So you can provision GPU infrastructure across all the major cloud providers. And why pre-provision and not auto-scale? So you can avoid the steps of configuring your auto-scaler, which may be a bit complicated. Configure different SKUs for workspaces based on your performance requirements, and allow model-specific pre-flight validations. And regarding storage, so a read-only copy of the model data is sufficient to support inference and fine-tuning. So right now, the project supports inferencing with large language models, and we're working towards in the next release to support model fine-tuning and have a design for retrieval augmented generation, or RAG, which is something I'll go into in a few slides. But essentially, when you have everything within your container registry, you do not really have to deal with all of the other storage needs when not like containerizing your model. So as a whole, this is what the architecture looks like and how all the moving pieces work together. Specifically, you can see how the like auto provisioning of GPUs works in this context. And as we mentioned, using right now the Azure Kubernetes Service Carpenter provider, and that can be replaced with the Carpenter equivalent across Google, Amazon, the other cloud providers, etc. So what are we working on currently? So further customizing your large language models. Many of the large language models that are available today are trained on large data sets that are available through like across the internet. And what people are looking to do is making it more context aware, more accurate to their use cases. So if you're using it as a chatbot, AI assistant, you want to provide more accurate answers to common questions that your users might be asking the assistant and so forth. So these are two different ways in approaching customizing your large language model, RAG or fine tuning. This is just some more technical information on how both of those work, but essentially just by feeding in more recent up-to-date data or more specific data, then you can continue to give that context to your large language model. And fine-tuning specifically is a form of supervised training. So meaning using labeled and pairwise data. And a method that we will be including is low rank adaptation, or LoRA. So instead of retraining big matrices, you inject the trainable rank of decomposition matrices. I won't go too much into depth in the technicalities, but yeah, these are two different approaches here. And as a whole, so continuous tuning, when you want to feed in new data, you want to retrain your model and consistently make it more accurate, have that positive feedback loop within your applications in general. That is what we're working towards. And we're also integrating with other orchestration frameworks, such as LangChain, et cetera, and making that and closing the loop for that entire process. So as the last part of the presentation here, these are how we've contributed to upstream SIGs. So for the working groups, device management and serving, these are some of the contributions that we have made. And KAITO specifically is a partner for the serving working group, which is mainly for optimizing large language model or AI inferencing in general. And you can visit this link here for the GitHub repository, and you can see the range of large language models that we currently support, which have the Apache 2 or MIT licenses. Yeah, so we can go into any questions, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Sachi. That was really good. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, it was all super clear. I do.
I have one.
Oh, go ahead first.
I'm actually not an expert on this, but is there a comparison to similar products? Or I mean, if from the sound of it, or at least at the very beginning of it, it sounds like it's kind of similar to the Triton server by NVIDIA, or does it do, I think, more things? It's a abstraction layer on top of it. Is there similar products? Or?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say there are other proprietary services from other larger companies, I would say, but we're trying to make this project open source and eventually donate it to the CNCF. So I think that's a key differentiator there, making it vendor agnostic and able to provision the infrastructure from a variety of cloud providers. What I would say it's similar to, I'm not sure if you're familiar with NVIDIA NIMS. That is their kind of proprietary service that I would say is pretty similar to KAITO. But not that I'm aware of generally within the CNCF.
Cool. I was not aware of NVIDIA NIM, but I guess you learn something new every day. So
Yeah.
One final question that I had is, do you have any public roadmap for the project?
Yes, we do. You can access it, I believe, through the GitHub repository. But I could also drop the link in the chat here. So as I mentioned, what we're working towards is integrating like a framework for RAG, and also working towards like model fine tuning. So we have a 3-month release cadence typically for this project. The last release that we had was end of March. So we're looking to release the next set of capabilities by the end of June.
Awesome, thank you.
Oh, and we're also planning to expand our model repository. So what performance metrics that we base it on for kind of containerizing the models and offering a range of preset configurations is using the Hugging Face rankings. So what is more commonly used? What is like the performance levels in different contexts, and they kind of break it down into various categories. So we've used that as a frame of reference, and we're looking to expand to support of further small language models, which is just another subset of generative AI trained on like textual data, and recently released were the Phi 3 models. So that is planned for support in the next release.
Okay, awesome. That actually answers my question as well. Are there any
Oh, great.
more questions? Okay, cool. Sashi, is there anything that you would like the people who are watching this to do? Any like call to actions?
Ooh, I would say here, I can drop the link to our repository. Definitely check it out. If there are any requests for model support, you can feel free to submit a GitHub issue. We have a process for requesting newer models, and interact with it. Let us know if there's like any additional like features that you're really interested in, like for us to add support for. And we're constantly adding things to our roadmap and considering it for like future releases. I'll just add in the link here.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Right now, the project lies within the Azure org. We just wanted to make a note of that, but as we work towards making the project extensible across cloud providers, then we plan to move it outside of the Azure organization on GitHub. And I had one question actually about this tag. So when we submit our application, would we note somewhere within the sandbox application that we're looking for like support of this like app delivery tag, or you guys are kind of like championing our project?
I believe that in the process of you're in incubation right now. That's what you said, right? Like you're submitting to be.
We have not yet submitted the application.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you're working on the submission for incubation. Is that
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay. I would have to look it up now because I don't know from the top of my head. What I believe is that at least for Sandbox, there was a requirement where you needed our approval. I think now you just say you present it to us, maybe you show the link or something, and then we will talk to the TSC if we have any concerns or comments or something. I think you only have to mention that you present it to us, and it doesn't we don't have to champion it, but we may if we feel like this is great and we want to support it. But then because we're not really an organ in that sense, right? Like the chairs here we're not really making technical recommendations.
Yes.
I think the most that we're doing is like asking questions, maybe getting the community involved to make recommendations or ask questions, but we ourselves are not normally or not anymore really like part of the oversight or steering committee.
Yes,
If that
I
makes
see.
sense. Yeah. I may be wrong. So if I am, please just like show me the thing that I need to do and I will. But I think this
Okay.
is the way that it stands right now.
Okay, yeah. Thanks for giving that like more insights on that. You had mentioned that you guys would be able to get the community involved. We would really appreciate that with like growing this project in its initial stages. And for past projects, if you have like examples of what this tag was able to do, or yeah, what we can like collaborate on, then I would appreciate that.
But usually, I think the best way to get the community involved is to show up to this meeting, like present as you have. If
Okay.
I think it's the question here is like the projects that we've seen getting the most traction with the community are the projects where maintainers are very active here. For example, Abby is one of the chairs of the platform working group, and she works for KAITO. So obviously there's a lot, she will mention that project once in a while. She gets a lot of feedback from the community on, not even by mentioning her project, but just like from talking about, best practices. So it's more like
Okay.
you as a person, if you're involved in the tag, then that will almost always translate to more engagement from the community on your project. But I don't know if this makes sense for you to do, if you feel like you want to spend that much energy in this community specifically, or maybe there's another community that you feel like is closer to what you're trying to achieve, so you want to put more time into that. That would be up to you. But generally speaking, of course, we can like ask people to look at your project, but we don't, as we don't make like specific recommendations about projects, we also don't like favor them. We don't put them on our website or something as like, hey, check out this project.
Mhm.
It would, yeah, just as I mentioned, so it would just be more like coming from you as a person. People would be interested in like contributing to your project because they're interested in like contributing to whatever you're doing.
I see. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Just for my clarification, are y'all applying for sandbox or incubation?
Sandbox.
Okay, cool.
Oh,
Because if it was
sandbox.
incubation, I was gonna
Oh,
ask
yes.
like where,
So
like, you know,
sandbox. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Also,
Less
there's
than, yeah.
there's 3 stages. Sandbox, which is basically, we're very early stage. Incubation would be like, we kind of know what we're doing, we're now just growing. And then you have graduated, which is like, we're production ready now, please, big enterprises use us. So
Mhm.
okay, sandbox, gotcha. Yeah, so in that case, yes, you probably need to present here.
Yes.
Take the feedback that you get from us, or the questions, just to like help you kind of figure out what does the community need or want, or what kind of questions do they have.
Yes.
Yeah, so that you did now. And
Okay.
besides that, yeah, everything I mentioned earlier, because we don't usually help out individual projects in that sense. So what we do have, I can show that to you, and this is maybe also helpful for everyone to know who wants to get a bit more involved in the tag. If I can find my window, this should be the one. What we do is that we have this page on the website that says contribute.
Mhm.
And we will ask people for contributions for like general things like the platform maturity model, but we won't ask for people to look at specific projects, because that would be like very hard to maintain. It just
Yeah.
would just be a lot of work to keep it here. So yeah, just like come to the meetings and mention your project once in a while. There's
Uh-huh.
also a AI working group in the tag runtime that might be something that you want to look into, maybe see if you can present there. Have you
Okay.
heard of the tag runtime?
Yes, I think initially when I was deciding on which tag to present to, I wasn't sure if runtime was as applicable, but now knowing that there is like an AI subgroup,
Yeah.
can definitely present there. Do you know what days they meet?
No, you would have to just look it up.
Okay.
Because we don't do a lot with them directly. But yeah, you just have to check out their website or
Okay.
their
Yeah, I'll look into it.
yeah. Okay, cool. Any other questions or comments or anything? Cool. So yeah, I'd really appreciate it if you are like interested in getting a bit involved with the administration of the tag, because we would really like yeah, if we get more help, we can do more stuff, and we have more space for working groups and to support the working groups doing their stuff. So it would help everyone. Probably also if you need something from the tag, then definitely would help if you could contribute. Yeah, just message me if you have any interest or questions or comments, and that's it from my side. Cool. Then I will see you in 2 weeks. And by then we hopefully fix that link for the meeting. I'm sorry about that. Well, have a great day, everyone. See you next time.
Appreciate it. Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.